Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Total Extreme Wrestling Fantasy Booking here on the ZOP Gaming Network channel, whatever you want to call it. We have a great show for you. Before I dive into the highlights of what you can expect, I just want to mention I am now posting all AEW Dark results down in the description so you know when and who had a matchup on Dark, so you can see that they are getting other wins, as well as I am now starting to post the overall wins and loss records of each individual person and team on the cards for this show. And you can also see on there a streak, which will be either a positive or negative. That's how many wins or losses they've actually had lately. With that being said, let's dive into the highlights of what you can expect on today's card. We have in action the AEW World Tag Team Champions on this show. We have Darby Allin in action taking on Ricky Stark. We have the AEW Women's Tag Division. We have the AEW Women's Tag Division in action, debuting new team, as well as Supremacy trying to get their second win to qualify for that tournament. And in our main event, we have Cody defending the AEW TNT Championship against Sammy Guevara. We have a good show here today, and let's hit it. Let's get on. Do it. Yeah, roll it. Don't know why I'm doing it this way. Are you ready? In our opening matchup, we have the new AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Best Friends, taking on the team of Red Alert of Jax Dane and Tommy Mercer. In a decent matchup where the Best Friends defeated the Red Alert in 10 minutes and 34 seconds, Chuck Taylor defeated Jax Dane by pinfall after the Awful Waffle. In terms of ring performance, Trent Beretta was head and shoulders over everyone else. The in-ring performance of Trent was 75, Chuck E.T. was 64, Jax was 22, and Tommy Mercer was a 30. So, down. And then we have our overall in-ring rating of a 51, which is what I kind of expected. It is what it is. It's here just to give the new tag champions a win. That's what we did, and I'm happy with that. I wish the rating was higher to start off the show, but it is what it is. Since we're already in tag division mode, let's have another tag division matchup, but this time it's for the women's tag division. We have Supremacy taking on Sirens, which is Ivelisse and Saki Kashihama. I think I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry if I butchered that, which I probably did. In a bout that had good wrestling, decent reaction from the crowd, Supremacy gets their second victory. It's the second victory in AEW by defeating the Sirens in 16 minutes and 44 seconds when Devonna Ward defeated Saki by pinfall with the show of force. Mercedes Banks carried the matchup in in-ring performance. Wow, Mercedes Banks had an in-ring performance of a 95. Devonna Rose was a 60. Wow, she's low. I have to go and fix that. There's no way she's that low. Saki had a 57 and Ivelisse had a 56. So that's not too bad. The rating for this matchup is a 70, which is really good. This should probably have been the opening matchup now that I think of it. Oh well, it is what it is. And now moving on to singles action. We have Darby Allin taking on Ricky Starks. In a bout that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat, Ricky Starks defeated Darby Allin in 12 minutes and 40 seconds by pinfall with the Buster Keaton after the distraction from Brian Cage. So we're going there, folks. Got to continue that matchup. Ricky debuted a new gimmick of cocky, got a rating of great. He is getting better at his gimmick. And Darby Allin had an in-ring performance of 66. Ricky Starks had an in-ring performance of 37. Wow, that's okay. I guess he's unknown, but you think he'd be at least a little bit better. Oh well. But this matchup got a 51, which is kind of predictable with Ricky Stark being so low. It was here to kind of just build that story along with Darby Allin and Brian Cage. I do like the pairing of Taz taking on a newcomer of Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. So I am actually going to be using them together like they actually are doing on AEW. We're definitely building towards Darby Allin and Brian Cage, so that'll be good. And back in tag team action with the women's division, we have straight flush of Alana Black and Aleah James taking on the newly formed team of Enlivid of Tenille Dashwood and Zoey Skye. But the in-ring performance of Alana Black was a 47. Aleah James was 43. Tenille Dashwood was 73. And Zoey Skye was a 56. So Tenille was above everyone in this matchup, which is not a surprise. And the match rating was a 63, which I'm actually really happy with. And this is just a great way to start building people up and setting up and finding out who will be in the AEW Women's Tag Division. If you do not already know, I announced the tag tournament last week, and according to the rules, the best teams, the top 4 teams with more than one win, as of that announcement of last week, were automatically in the tournament unless their win-loss record dropped below someone who had to prove themselves. And those teams are on the screen now. And then at the end of next week, we'll find out who the final 4 teams are, and then we'll start the tournament in the month of August with the finals being at All Out. We're definitely bringing in the AEW World Women's Tag Championships, so look forward to that segment. So let's move on. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone and Excalibur get some notification in their headphones that something's going on backstage. We cut to the back. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page are brawling with each other in the back. Security tries to break them up, but they just can't keep them apart. When one person gets separated, the other one breaks free and dives onto the other one, and vice versa. But eventually, some other wrestlers join in, pull them apart, and get them away. Kenny, as he's being pulled away, Kenny Omega screams, "I'm not waiting any longer. I want you next week." Page, right before he's pulled off camera, yells, "Great, this ends next week." So yes, we're going to be having Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page next week on Dynamite. Now you may say, this should be all out. We need to have these two. And I was going to go that direction, but my plans for Kenny changed. I had different plans for him, but then I came up with a better idea for it. And what I was going to do didn't make sense for what I was going to be doing with him going into Full Gear. So I had to change Pat. And also I want to build this matchup so when we actually finally see these two on pay-per-view, it's bigger. Like, we're going to just be a big matchup now, but I wanted to build towards like, okay, this is a huge matchup. And also where I'm going with Hangman Page also changed. So, yeah. But we'll have that matchup next week. In our next matchup, we have Nyla Rose taking on Crazy Mary Dobson, formerly known as but she's taking on Nyla Rose in a bout that had decent wrestling but didn't get much heat. Crazy Mary Dobson defeats Nyla Rose by pinfall with a roll-up. Nyla Rose had an in-ring performance of 59. Crazy Mary had an in-ring performance of 38. And this started the Nyla Rose Beast storyline. And we had an overall for this matchup 45, which is very low. I was hoping to be a lot better, but yeah, with the roll up, probably the creative direction, and with a 38 for the in-ring performance of Crazy Mary, probably didn't go over as well. But I have big plans for Nyla Rose and where I want to go with her, and this is all leading towards that. So we'll see where this goes in the future. But it's also a nice little win for Crazy Mary because she's been getting losses, as you can see, of her in-ring, her record. Our next matchup, we have the most dangerous man on the planet, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus Joey Janella. In a decent matchup, Orange Cassidy defeats Joey Janella in 12 minutes and 26 seconds by pinfall with a super kick. Cassidy had a 71 in-ring performance, wow, and Joey Janella had a 44. This leading to a 58 rating for the matchup, which I'm okay with. It probably could have been a little bit higher, but with Joey Janella in there, I did go in and tweak Orange Cassidy a little bit. Maybe a little too much, but I don't think so. He's actually really good in the ring. I maybe should probably tweak Joey Janella because he seems like he should be a little bit better in ring. Not to say popularity, but in ring at least. But I'll take it. Orange Cassidy has had some wins, as you can see from his record, but there was mostly like on dark experiments with like intergender matchup between him and Starlight Kid to see how that would go over the fan base and just kind of see trying things out. So this was to give him a big win, especially after his loss for the TNT Championship last week. Just kind of start building him up as he prepared for Jericho. Our next matchup, we have AEW World Women's Champion Hikaru Shida taking on Rebel Kelly. And in a bout that had subpar wrestling, little heat, Hikaru Shida defeated Rebel Kelly in 3 minutes and 18 seconds by submission with the Full Metal Muffler. Hikaru Shida had an in-ring performance of 66, and Rebel Kelly had an in-ring performance of 20, which explains why this had subpar wrestling, with a match rating of 52. I would not be happy with this rating if it was anyone else, but knowing I brought Rebel in to be an enhancement talent, just there to give Hikaru Shida some quick wins, and this one being a squash match. When there's such a big difference, I'm not surprised at being this low, but I'll take a 52 because it's actually probably could have been a lot lower. After the match, Hikaru Shida yanks her arms free from the ref and calls for Mike. She gets it. Shida, Mercedes, Divana, get out here now. There's a pause as everyone waits to see if they will come out. After a long minute, they both wander out from the back onto the stage. Shida, I dare you to come here and try what you did last week. Divana and Mercedes chat like they have no interest in coming to the ring. Shida, if not today, maybe next week or the week after that. It won't matter. I'm onto your games and I'll be ready. Divana and Mercedes laugh, both mocking and doubt Shida is onto their games. So, here we go. Last week, Mercedes and Divana attacked the AEW World Women's Champion after her matchup. She is not happy about it, calling them out and letting them know, I'm onto you. But they seem to think they know more than Shida does. So the question is, what is this? Where are we going with this? Why are they attacking the AEW World Women's Champion when they are seeking after the AEW World Women's Tag Champions? Time will tell, folks. Time will tell. Our next matchup, we have MJF taking on Sonny Kiss. In a bout that had subpar wrestling, little heat, MJF defeats Sonny Kiss in 12 minutes and 45 seconds by pinfall with a Swanton Bomb. I really need to update his MJF's finishers because he does not use that in AEW. MJF had an in-ring performance of 61, and Sonny Kiss, had an in-ring performance of 25. Wish I knew his stats were so low. But this lead to a 50 for their match rating. I wish it was a little bit higher, or I would have changed the match length. I would have actually made it shorter and give MJF a squash victory here. But it was mostly just there to give MJF another victory, especially after tying up his best of 7 with Jungle Boy at Fyter Fest. Next week, we will have match 3 of the best of 7 series between him and Jungle Boy. So this was just to give him another win going into that matchup. We go backstage. The Young Bucks walk into the locker room where FTR are. Matt, there they are. Those who helped us gain another victory at Fyter Fest. Nick, a victory that puts us one step closer to another shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Dax and Cash look at each other confused. Nick, I gotta admit something to you guys. I don't know about Matt, but me, I was not impressed when you two showed up at the Dynamite after Double or Nothing. But after the matchup with SCU and Private Party, I sort of see why people have talked about you guys. Matt, you saw that too? I thought it was just me. Dax and Cash stand and get into their Matt and Nick's face. Dax, we helped you win the match? Cash, try the other way around. Also, it was Dax who scored the pinfall. Matt and Nick step back, trying to ease tension. Matt goes to speak. You may have been impressed with us. We still aren't impressed with you. Dax and Cash walk out. The teams had to team up at Futterfest and were successful in that. But now it seems like Matt and Nick were trying to take credit for the win when it was FTR who scored the pinfall. Maybe we'll finally get this matchup between them, which I've always said the goal is for All Out, and this is just one more step to build towards that matchup. With that said, let us move on to our next segment. Backstage segment between FTR and the Young Bucks. The Elite Fracture storyline was advanced, and this segment got a 77, which I'm happy with. And on our main event, Cody defends his TNT Championship against Sammy Guevara in a bout that had good wrestling, decent reaction from the crowd. Cody defeats Sammy Guevara in 12 minutes and 51 seconds by pinfall with a crossroad following an interference from Orange Cassidy. Sammy Guevara had an in-ring performance of 58. Cody had an in-ring performance of 82. This segment, the freshly squeezed inner circle storyline advanced and gained some heat, which is always great. And this matchup got a 68 overall. A little lower than I would have hoped for, probably because of the interference. But I'll take it. It's another good matchup. Cody makes another defense of the title. So I'm happy with that. And the match rating should have been a little bit higher, but yeah, it is what it is. But I'll still take it. And that being said, with night 2 of the new build towards All Out is complete. So let's go to the summary and find out how we did for the card. This card is down from last week's 72. We got a 68 overall, but this show did increase our popularity in 21 regions, which is a plus there. I am a little down that it drops by 4 points, but I didn't actually have as many storylines progress here as I thought I was going to. Only 1 or 2, like 2 or 3 of them, which I realized after I simulated the card. So it is what it is, but I'd rather have some lower rating matchups, lower rating cards now than when we go into our final build towards All Out. And that ends week 3 of July. Next week we have the final week for AEW Women's Tag Teams to qualify for the AEW World Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament. And we also have the most anticipated matchup for a very long time now. Hangman Adam Page taking on Kenny Omega. Who will walk out the winner? Only time will tell. So tune in next week. I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. Comment down below. Let me know who you think will be entering in. Let me know what you thought of the show down below. Answer today's 2 questions. What AEW women's tag teams do you think will qualify, be the final 4 to qualify for the tournament, as well as who will walk out the winner between Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega? Answer that question down below. Since you made it to the end of this video, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It's a great way to help support this channel. And another great way to help support this channel, if you really enjoy the show, is share this fantasy booking on your social media. And since it's right next to that thumbs up, why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and turn on all notifications so you know when all fantasy booking and other ZOP content go live. Thank you again so much for watching Fantasy Booking. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll chat with you in my next video. Bye!